my mom called me up, and I was grown. I'm 30 some years old, grown, and in the military. And she said, "You need to come home because your pops is he's dying, and he just want to talk to you." Now, in my mind, only in my mind, I said to my mom, in my mind, "Yeah, let him die. Why? I don't really care." I got to the hospital. I came straight off the road. Got to the hospital, and she said he was in there. And I'm like, once again, when she said it, I'm like, so what? I don't really care. But I obeyed. I was obedient. I went in there. I walked in the room, and he looked at me and he said, "Son." And I mean, just it went through me. I mean, it went
Wow.
all penetrated my entire soul because I've been waiting for 30 plus years for him to call me son and me accept it.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is James Howard Jr. I'd like to thank you for tuning in today to the JHJ podcast, where our purpose and our goal is to help men honor God in every single part of their lives. So today, my guest is a guy who's pretty significant to me. He has, been around and really just helped me with a lot of stuff. He is a retired military major. If you correct me if I'm wrong, he has worked
Okay.
with teenagers for a couple years, even after retiring the military, and helping with JROTC stuff. And I guess how long have you been retired? Like for real, for real?
Since 2009 from the military, and December the 10th of 2020 from the state.
And so, what would you say your days consist of now that you are retired? That you're a retired old man.
Well, it's really tough. I have to coordinate, of course, my VA visits, and I have to make sure they line up with my naps and my fishing. Okay, because I got to have those two in there, and everything else we'll try to fill it in when we can.
Yeah. And so just to be clear, this guy right here, his name is James Howard Sr. And if you have not picked up on this already, this guy's my dad. This is the man who helped me become a man. And so I thought, man, how fitting would this be? For this podcast, it's all about helping men honor God in every single part of their lives. Why not have our first guest be the man that helped me become the man I am today? I'm just saying, I thought it was a good idea. And I mean, I think everybody watching should think that this is a good idea. I just really think it is. I just thank you. All right. Anywho, Mr. James Howard Sr., tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, I retired as a retired logistics officer. I did 22 and a half years active duty in the military. And as you're aware, we had an opportunity to go a lot of places, different states, different countries. We toured Italy, toured Europe for a few years, and did some things over there and came back. And came back to the States and actually finished up my career here in Mississippi, where we decided to put down roots because it kind of reminded me of home where I grew up. Small town environment, just a family kind of cohesive area, and I just kind of really liked it here. I also had an opportunity to influence young people, men and women, teaching Army JROTC at Laurel High School, and it really helped me to share some of my life stories with them to help them get past some of the adversities that they were kind of going through in their life in that small town.
Okay. And so you said you are from a small town. Where's that small town at?
Well, it is Oak Grove, Louisiana. It's about 18 miles south of Arkansas. And it's about 2,000 strong with cats and dogs. Small town, very small town. And we went from Oak Grove, Louisiana, all over the world, and actually retired in Oak Grove, Mississippi.
Yeah,
Same colors, black and gold.
that's
So
crazy.
it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to jump right into it today. We have a list of questions that we're going to ask that are specifically talking about manhood. For the first 4 episodes or the first month of this podcast, we're going to be specifically asking the question, what is manhood? What does being a man look like in today's time? And that's going to be the overall kind of theme for this podcast. And we'll specifically talk about things like finances. We'll talk about sexual and, integrity and different things like that in the future with different guests. We'll talk about ministry. We'll talk about all these different ways that men are to live in this world. And so that's what we're going to kick off today, specifically talking about manhood today. And so my question to you, Dad, is what does being a man mean to you? What does that mean to you?
Honestly, it means integrity. When I think about talk with people, and they know when they speak to me, I'm going to give them what's in my heart. I'm going to give it to them straight, and they don't have to go back and say, "Well, what did he mean by that? Is he really practicing what he's preaching?" I learned that the hard way, but I also learned that when you give somebody your word, let your word be your bond, and be real. No matter if it's sometimes it might be a little hurtful, harmful, but you have to be real and just don't be fake with people. That's what a real man to me means. Just being real.
So talking about kind of growing up, man, pops, um, what would you say your definition of a man was growing up?
Actually, growing up, it was a little negative in a sense because unfortunately my pop wasn't there for me, and I had to struggle with that growing up. And I've told you this before. I actually I hated my old man, and I just didn't. I didn't think he was a good male role model for me until I got a little bit older. Then I realized that our parents teach us they've done two things right, no matter what they have done, no matter who they are, crackhead, murder, whatever the case may be. And I need to share with my students. They've done two things. The first thing they did is they got with your other parent to make sure that you got here. That's the only way God wanted you to get here. The second thing they did is they showed you what to be or what not to be. Growing up, what drove me a lot of the times was the fact that my dad wasn't there. I told myself that when I become a man, I'm not gonna be drinking alcohol. I'm not gonna smoke, and I'm gonna stay with my family. And that's what my old man taught me by his absence. Uh, be a man of integrity. Stay with your family, and don't be ruled by alcohol and smoking. And that's kind of what he taught me about his absence because I knew that's what he did. So
Yeah, that's good, man. I know you've had a lot of significant conversations specifically with teenage men. Um, what kind of what kind of approach do you take? I guess what do you say to those boys who use the excuse of not having their pops in their life as a reason for them to be less than what God has made them to be?
well, what I the approach that I use is first of all. Um, I don't change the standard. If the standard is here, the standard is there, regardless to what your situation is. I don't try to meet them where the standard is. I meet them wherever they are so that I can gain their trust. Now, many young men I had an opportunity to discuss some things with about not having a father there. And first thing I had to do is I had to gain their confidence because if I don't have your confidence that I'm going to share something with you that's going to be valuable. I mean, everything that I say is going to come out like the Charlie Brown wah 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 wah. So the way that I approach
Yeah,
that is I share with them my story, and that's something nobody can doubt me or question me on or debate me on is my story. I know that I came from a fatherless home. My mom raised four boys by herself. She did a pretty good job of it, but I knew that I didn't have a father in my life,
yeah,
and a lot of the kids look at where I am now and they say, "Man, I want to be like you when I grow up." I tell them, "Look, your situation doesn't dictate where you're going to be. You do. You have to make up your mind what you want.
yeah,
And once you make your mind up, then you got to go get it. It's not going to fall in your lap. You have to go get it. But don't use the excuse of I don't have a father because I've been down that road. So I can tell you from experience that doesn't work. That doesn't work at all. Let it be the motivating factor
yeah,
to go get what you want. If you want it, go get it. You can't have what I have. You can't have what's mine, but you can have some of the things that I have if you go out and do the things that I did. So a lot of the kids, I just told it to them straight like that and said, "Look, don't make excuses. No, no, don't do that. Go get it, and I'll help you go get it. First of all, we're gonna pray about it. Then we're gonna get a plan to get you where you need to be.
Oh man, dropping nuggets around here. There you go, nuggets of wisdom. There you go, right there. Y'all give it up for them right there. Woo-hoo. All right, so let me ask this question: what would you say was the most difficult part about not growing up with your father present?
For me, it was kind of looking around at other kids in the neighborhood. I kind of felt that I had did something wrong because my old man wasn't there. I mean, like it's my fault that he wasn't there. I'm the last. I was the baby of the family, so pops ain't there. So what did I do wrong? But I later discovered that it wasn't me, and I'd like to share with you how my pop really helped me to get past the hate that I had for him. It was on his dying bed. My mom called me up, and I was grown. I'm 30 some years old, grown, and in the military. And she said, "You need to come home because your pops is he's dying, and he just want to talk to you." Now, in my mind, only in my mind, I said to my mom, in my mind, "Yeah, let him die. Why? I don't I don't really care." Only in my mind. But when mom said do something, it was yes, ma'am, I'm on my
Yeah.
way. And I got to the hospital. I came straight off the road. Got to the hospital, and she said he was in there. And I'm like, once again, when she said it, I'm like, so what? I don't really care. But I obeyed. I was obedient. I went in there. I walked in the room, and he looked at me and he said, "Son." And I mean, just it went through me. I mean, it went
Wow.
all penetrated my entire soul because I've been waiting for 30 plus years for him to call me son and me accept it as a father. He said, I just want to share with you that the reason I wasn't there for you, son. And I was like, what am I feeling? I want to be mad. I wanted to
Yeah.
be mad. And he said, "Son, I was an alcoholic and I was a smoker, and I just didn't want you to fall in my tracks. I didn't want that for you." Instantaneously, forgiveness came over. I mean, it was like a weight, like 100-pound weight was lifted off my shoulders.
Wow.
Now, my other siblings, the older brothers, I mean, they were cool with him because they lived in Colorado with him. Then they had a great relationship. I just didn't because I was mad, and I wanted to go home and be mad at him before he died. I wanted him to know that I was mad at you because you weren't there. But the Lord kept him
Yeah.
around specifically for me because he knew that we had to bridge that gap between why he wasn't there and why I hated him. And I mean, instantaneously, forgiveness came, and we spent 2 hours just sitting there chilling. And he went on to sleep, and I say he went on to glory because he helped me heal the hate. And I share that entire story with kids all the time. I mean, I shared it for 8.5 years in GRTC. I say, I gave them the whole two things a parents could do, and it makes a difference because forgiveness wasn't about my old man.
Yeah.
It was all about me. He didn't know how much I hated him. He had no clue. But when I let that go, God said, "Okay, you good, you good. Y'all get a couple of minutes, and I'm gonna bring him on home." And he did, and that was the best feeling I had ever had. I love my old man. He pushed me. He really did.
Yeah. What would you tell those men who grew up without their fathers who still have the opportunity to have just some type of conversation, or reconcile or whatever? What would you say to those young men, to those guys, men? Period.
I would say the first thing is do not go and talk to your father the very first thing. That's not the first person you need to talk to. You and God need to have a conversation. Okay, y'all need to have a conversation.
So you need to
He
go
needs
to
to
the
help.
Father. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. You go to your father with forgiveness in your heart, no matter what they have done. And they may have been an abusive father, they may have been a neglectful father, they may have been all different types of things. But if you have an opportunity to go down and to go sit down with your father to have a conversation, talk to the father first to get your heart right, so that when you go there, you may be the person that your father needs to hear from our father first. That may save his life. It
Wow.
really may save his life. It helped save mine.
Woo.
Talk to God first.
Woo. You better preach. You better preach. There you go. Yeah. I just want to emphasize, he said, go to the Father before you go to no Father.
That's it.
Hey, there it is right there. That's good stuff, man. For those of you who are under
Right,
18
right.
or or in somebody else's guardianship. Is that the right word? Guardianship? Somebody else
Hmm.
is your
Hmm.
guardian. If it's safe for you to have a conversation with your pops, I would say with wise counsel and many people, as much advice from your mom or your guardian, grandparents, whoever you stand with, have a conversation with the father, have a conversation with your people to see if this is something that is wise to do, and then try to take that opportunity to talk. And there's some situations maybe where that's not the best thing to do. And like I said, man, y'all,
Hmm.
you need to be praying about it. You need to be talking to your people who are around you to see if that's even something that's safe to do. But if you know it's safe, if you know it's something that people around you are aware of and they approve of, and you have the opportunity, man, take the opportunity to have a conversation with your pops, man, because that can be significant. As you can see with my dad, man, that was something that was pretty good. What advice would you give to the younger men, specifically 18 or under, who are presently growing up without their father? What advice would you give them?
Make sure you find a mentor. That's the key. Find a mentor. And I say I would recommend that you find a Christ following mentor, not a Christian, a Christ following mentor, somebody who is after God's own heart, that wants to do positive in the community, do positive in his family, and just be a positive Christ like person, not a perfect person because they don't exist. Only one has ever walked the earth. That was Jesus. Everybody else, we're trying to get through it. Get through it. Learn from their mistakes. I'd share with you some of the mistakes that I made, and I tell you all the time, you don't have to run into that brick wall. I've
Yeah,
done it. You don't
yeah,
have to smash your hand with the hammer. I've done it. Now, if
yeah,
you want that pain, that's on you. But this is what happened to me, and this is the result of what I did. So please don't do that. Please don't do that. And you could help countless of people when you share your testimony
yeah,
and how you've recovered from something
yeah,
to help them be the young men that they need to be.
yeah. Last thing. What was one thing, if you only had 60 seconds to go back in time and talk to your younger self, what would you say?
Put forgiveness forefront in your heart, and your life will actually be a whole lot better because many times people that you are angry with or frustrated with don't even know that you're angry or frustrated with them. If
Yeah,
you have an opportunity to share that, get it out because if you don't, the devil's going to use that as something that is your weakness, and he's going to continue to use that. He doesn't have any new games. He doesn't need any new games because we fall for the same old tricks that he always does. And forgiveness is one of the biggest things. Once you forgive, that just takes weight off of your whole soul. And then God can use you. He can use you more. He can. And then the devil's mad. And our goal is to put him where he belongs, up under our feet, stump his head.
that's good, man. That's good. Forgiveness is key. Y'all, this is James Howard Sr. right here. This is the guy that I came from. Just dropping so much wisdom right here. So I just want to make sure that you guys understand like how significant this is. Like without him, I wouldn't be here. Without him, y'all wouldn't have this podcast. Y'all wouldn't have this YouTube video. Y'all wouldn't have none of this because of this man right here. So again, I want to make sure that everybody give this man a round of applause right here for all that he is, all that he has been in my life, and the countless other young men and women that he has helped throughout his career in the military and with JRTC. But as we close, I want to play a little game with you. It's called the lightning round. And so this is how the game is going to work.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you a couple of just quick random questions. None of them are related or connected at all, but you have to give me the first thing that comes to mind. All right. So first question is, what
Okay.
is your favorite combination of colors?
Black and gold.
I knew that one. Black and gold. By the way, FIA, there he is right there. For all my alphas out there watching, there you go. Your favorite day of the week?
Oh, every one of them. I'm retired. I just get to have fun every day.
He said he's retired. So yeah, I love every day. Yo, I feel you on that one. If every day was
Well,
a
actually,
Friday or a
favorite day
Saturday
of
to
the
me,
favorite day of the week is the next day. That's it.
Is the next day? I
That's
got
one
you.
I've never
Yeah,
seen before.
you got to be grateful for the next when you get old, like you just saying, All right, your
Keep
favorite
living it, don't die.
city, right? You just keep living, no doubt. What would you say your favorite city is in the United States, besides the one you live in?
Probably Orlando.
Okay. What is your favorite city in the world, other than the one you live in?
Livorno, Italy.
Livorno, Italy. Shout out to all my Livorno Italians, Livornians.
Yep.
What would it be?
Probably Italiano.
Livornians, man. All right, yeah. We stayed out in Livorno, Italy, man. How long we stay out there? For about 5, 6 years? How long were we out there?
It was about 5 years. About 5 years.
All right.
Yep.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Star Wars? Ooh, that surprised me. I thought you Star Trek man all the way. All right. Would you
Oh wait, let me make sure. The original Star Wars.
the original? So the original
Yeah.
what, 3 or 4?
Episode 4, 5, and 6.
All right, so the ones that came out when you were younger.
Yes.
The OGs
Yes.
and stuff like that. I get confused with all the Star Wars stuff. Now they got cartoons and everything. I watch have you watched The Mandalorian?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What about the Book
Awesome.
of Boba Fett?
Awesome.
Have you watched that one yet?
Not yet. I haven't seen that one yet. I'm gonna work on it. I haven't seen that one yet.
Your favorite holiday?
I would say Christmas because we get a chance to give stuff out to the kids and grandkids. It's a big giving day. It's pretty cool.
Fill in the blank. LeBron James is
Overrated.
ooh, overrated. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Invisibility or super strength?
Super strength.
So again, I'd like to thank my guest, James Howard Sr., for coming, hanging out with us today. Again, this is the very first episode of the JHJ podcast, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in today. Our focus here is to help men honor God at every single part of their lives. And so if you want more future content like this, make sure that you are subscribed. If you are on YouTube, make sure you hit the red subscribe button. And if you're on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, make sure that you follow, connect, or do whatever you have to do to make sure that you are getting the notifications for this here video podcast. All right. Thank you again, Pops, for hanging out with us today. And thank y'all for tuning in. Peace.